Hello students, my name is Archana Dhaude and I am going to take your computer system and application subject. So from today we are going to start with our first lecture. Before starting with the lecture, in my orientation I have already explained about the paper pattern of our subject, marking scheme, then how the practicals will be conducted and what is the practical distribution. So all the things I have already explained in orientation. Those who have not listened to that specific orientation, plus please go to YouTube and visit my channel and just see the orientation session which is conducted for TYBCom students. So without wasting much more time, now from today's session we are going to start with module number 1. In that we are going to start with the chapter number 1, that is data communication and networking. So the first question based on this chapter is data communication. What is data communication? And explain the fundamental characteristics of data communication. Basically the theory questions which we are going to have, they will be for 7 to 8 marks. Okay, so one page or 1.5 page is the expected explanation about each and every topic. According to that you have to prepare yourself. So the first question, that is data communication. As we all know that data communication means, if you consider normal communication, so in communication means what? If I am trying to say something or if I am trying to convey something to somebody else, then we can say that there is a communication is going on between two parties. So similarly the same concept is used here, that is, just take simple example. If I am sending some messages on WhatsApp to my friend is also giving me reply on the questions which I sent on the WhatsApp. So that is a kind of a communication. But here the questions which we are sending, that is considered as a data. So data communication means whenever we are sending some necessary information to the other via any medium, that is using WhatsApp or using mails or on phone calls, video conferencing, so that comes under data communication. So data communication is also called as data transmission. Just remember this sentence, because on this sentence you will be having fill in the blanks. Okay, so data communication is also called as data transmission. Then data communication are the exchange of data between two devices via some form of transmission medium such as cable or wire or even wireless medium. Means if you want to communicate with anybody, if we are considering the cell phones, so in case of cell phones we don't have any wire attached to our cell phone, right? So that is kind of wireless communication. And if we are considering the desktop communication, which is in which we have used some cable, that is internet cable if we are using, so that comes under wired communication. In the detail we are going to learn about this topic, but basically communication is possible between two devices via some medium. Okay, and that medium can be wired, cable or wireless. So this is the definition of data communication, that is exchange of data between two devices via any transmission medium. So basically when any two devices wants to communicate with each other, then there has to be some communication hardware and software should be present there, and then only it is possible. Then we can say that when you will say that the communication which we did now, that is proper only if it matches or if it accepts the four fundamental characteristics. If we achieve all these four fundamental characteristics, then we can say that the communication is taken or took place in proper manner. So there are total four fundamental characteristics of data communication. First characteristics is delivery. Means if I send very important message, I want to take some decision and I have sent some message to my students, and if that particular students or if that particular message is sent to someone else who is not having any idea about that particular question, so that is called as delivery issue. Delivery issue means the data which you want to send, that should be reached to the correct destination. That is very important in communication. It's not the case we are talking to someone else, we are talking or giving information to someone else. That particular someone else should be some intended person or the expected person to whom we want to communicate. So that is called as delivery. That is, the system must deliver data to the correct destination. Then the next topic is accuracy. Accuracy means, in simple words, I can say that whatever I have sent, that should be reached to the intended recipient in the format which I sent. It's not the case that I have sent a 30 minutes video and the recipient has received only 15 minutes video. So that we cannot call as there is accuracy. So accuracy means whatever we have delivered, that should be delivered to the intended user in the same format or in the same manner as the sender sent. So that is called as accuracy. The system must deliver data accurately. There should not be any modification or any issues. Then third characteristics is timeliness. Timeliness means if I want some data on the basis of which I want to take some decision, important decision. So if that particular data is not available on time or is not reached on time, then there is no use of that specific data. Means I want to take decision today and the information which we want from the employees, I got that information tomorrow, then there is no use of that information. So the data should be available in timely manner. Okay, if it arrives late, then the data is just useless. And the fourth characteristics is jitter. Jitter means, you can take a simple example, that is sometimes if we are browsing some session, browsing some web pages, or if we are watching some movies on YouTube and all, and if there is a network issues, then some round circle like buffering is occur. So that is called as jitter. Means, in simple words, we can say that jitter is nothing but uneven delay. Means information is reaching us, but there is a uneven delay. Means some part of information, suppose 5 minutes video is I have viewed properly, but after that the session is having, that is not reach on time, or it takes some time to reach to me. So that is called as jitter. That is variation in arrival time, or we can say that uneven delay. So that should not be happen. Means I want to make some presentation, and for that I need information, and because of which I am searching that information on the net, but it is not giving me the answer, or the result is not coming immediately as I want, because of any reason, because of network issue or any other reason. So that is not allowed. So if we want to say that the communication which we did, that is proper, when the communication is taken place between the two, we can say that authorized parties, and the information which is exchanged between two the parties is proper, is accurate, there is no changes, and the information is reached on time, and there is no uneven delay between the information. In smoothly manner, it is sent by the sender as well as received by the receiver. All these four characteristics, if we achieve, then and then only we can say that the communication which we did, that is best or proper. So these are the four fundamental characteristics of data communication. So I hope this slide is clear to you. This is your first question. Then the next topic is components of communication system. Okay, so components means, if I am sending some data, so I am sender. To whom I am sending the data, that person will be the receiver. After that, to send the information, I have used some transmission media. So that is one of the component. After that, we can say that whatever data we have sent, it's not necessary that it can be only audio information or video information. Sometimes we text some message, so message can contain images, audios, videos, right, alphabets, characters, all such things are present. So all these are nothing but the components of data communication system. So the first component as given in the slide, that is message. Message is the data to be communicated, okay, and it can be in the form of text, numbers, pictures, audio and videos. All such type of information we can send. Then the second component of data communication system is sender. Sender means it is a device which sends the data or sends the message, okay. So it can be any computer, telephone handset, video camera and so on. Then the third component which we are having, that is receiver. Receiver is the device that receives the message. It can be a computer, telephone headset, video camera and so on. Then the fourth component of data communication system is transmission medium. The transmission medium is nothing but the physical path through which the signals are travel from sender to receiver, okay. So transmission medium can be wired and wireless. So if we are considering wired transmission medium, then it again contains subtypes like twisted pair cable, coaxial cable, fiber optic cable. And if we are considering wireless media, then it contains radio waves, satellite waves, microwaves are there. And after that, so this type of transmission media is there, which we are having this particular topic in detail later. And the fifth component of data communication system is nothing but the protocol. Protocol means actually all the four components which we have discussed till now, that is message is there, sender, receiver, transmission medium, all we can be able to see. But the fifth component, protocol, is not actually any type of software or any type of hardware, but protocols are nothing but the set of rules which two communicating parties or devices should follow to properly communicate with each other. For that, I can just give you one simple example. There is one protocol, that is FTP, file transfer protocol. And I don't know whether you have tried this or not. If just try to send .exe file using email or any other mode, but I'm just giving you the email example. Just try to attach .exe file. .exe is nothing but the executable file, which is kind of software, we can say that. Just try to send any software via email. It is not possible. Why it is not possible? Because this rule is written in FTP, file transfer protocol, that you cannot send .exe file. So even though you tried for 100 times, it will not possible, because this is the rule which is given by the FTP protocol. And if you are following that particular rule, then and then only your communication will take place. If you are not following the rule, your communication is not going to take place. So the rules and regulations are, we can say that, given by the protocol. Or in simple words, we can say that the protocol will help you to decide what type of information you can send, when that particular information can be sent, in which format that particular information is sent. So all these questions answer is given by the protocols. So protocol is very important component. When you upload or download anything, there is one protocol, file transfer protocol, and like FTP we are having n number of protocols. But for the current preference, I have given you just small example of FTP protocol. So without protocol, it is not possible to communicate with each other, okay. And just remember all the definitions of message, sender, receiver, transmission medium and protocol, because on the basis of that you will be having true and false question also. So you should know each and every sentence which is given in your textbook, on the basis of which you will be having the fill in the blanks question, that is actually multiple choice questions are there, and true and false. Because you will be having, for true and false, a protocol is a set of rules for two devices to communicate. So what will be the answer? True. But for to give that answer, you should know this sentence. So all the definitions are very important, that can be asked as a multiple choice question or as a true and false question. So these are the 5 components of protocol. In next slide we are going to have the diagram for the same. So if you see the first part, so there is a diagram for data communication system, and it's not the case that protocols are to be followed only by the sender. Receiver is not having any control by the protocol. So it's not the case. Protocol is present at both the parties or at both the devices, that is sender as well as receiver, okay, which contains so many rules. After that, so just see the diagram. There is one sender which is connected with the receiver via medium, that is via transmission medium, and on at the top of sender and receiver we are having protocols. And as we have seen that sender and receiver are connected, means they are connected for what? To do the communication. And in communication what we will send? The message. And this is the reason why from sender to receiver it is a message. There is a message with the arrow. It shows the direction, that is message is sent from sender and it is received by the receiver. Okay. So this is your diagram, which is very important or compulsory to draw if you are having theory question on explain the components of data communication system. After that, as we have said, that is during communication, the message or the information which we pass, right, that can be in multiple formats. That is, we can send the text, we can send the numbers, we can have images, then audios also we can send, and videos also we can send. So all these are nothing but data representation, means this type of data we can send. Okay, so what do you mean by text? So text is represented as a bit pattern. Bit pattern means it is a sequence of bits like zeros and one. Basically now we are discussing about the communication, and definitely that is between two computers. Okay, and as we all know that the computer can understand only binary language. So binary is nothing but the language which contains zeros and ones only. So text is nothing but a bit pattern, and which is a sequence of bits. And for text representation we follow we can say that one type of system we use, and that system is nothing but ASCII. Means for each and every character which we type on the keyboard or we press the keyboard keys, after pressing the keys, one we can say that information is sent to the compiler. One signal we can say that is sent to the CPU, and from that signal CPU analyze the ASCII value. Okay, so ASCII, there is one full form which is very very important for you to remember, that is ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Okay, so each and every character is having its own ASCII code. Then the second type of data which we can send, that is numbers. So numbers are also represented as bit pattern, that is 0 and 1 pattern. But numbers are not having ASCII code. The number is directly converted into the binary. Means for 1 the binary code is 0001. For 2 we type 2, but the computer will understand it as 0010. So for numbers, to represent number, we never make use of ASCII code. ASCII codes are only for the characters, that is A to Z characters, or the special symbols which we are having, like ampersand symbol is there, dollar symbol is there, question mark, plus, minus. So for all of them we are having some ASCII code. And for 0 to 9 numbers we don't have any ASCII code. The 0 to 9 numbers are directly converted into the binary format. Then the third type of data which we can send during the communication, that is images. So images refers to still pictures. Still pictures means they are not moving, they are still, like a statue. So images are also represented by beat patterns. In its simplest format, an image is composed of matrix of pixels, where each pixel is a small dot and number of pixels depends upon the resolution. So here, in simple word, I can tell you that images are nothing but the still pictures, and they are also represented as a beat pattern. For this you can take simple example, that is if you want to buy TV, so there is something resolution word is there, and after resolution 250 into 820, like that it is given. So this 250 into 820 is nothing but the matrix value, means how many pixels or how many dots will be present horizontally as well as vertically. That information is given in the resolution. So if we want to buy, basically if you want to take decision to which company's TV we should buy, then this is one of the characteristics which we should consider, that is resolution. The TVs, those are having high resolution, we can prefer them, because if we are having higher resolution, the images or the picture is more clear. Okay, for that you can take simple example of if we want to buy the mobile phone. So in that also we are having cameras, right? So in camera we are having we can say that 2 megapixel or 3 megapixel, 5 megapixel, 18 megapixel, like that we are having some value. So this is nothing but the number of dots which are present horizontally and vertically, and the number of dots are more, then the image is more clear. So that is nothing but the point related to resolution, which comes along with the topic, that is image. Then we have next we can say that data which we can send, that is audio. So basically in case of audio we can refers to the recording or broadcasting of sound or music. In audio we are having only sound, and in video we are having images and we can say that sound also. So it is, videos is a combination of both images and audio, then we can say that it is a video. So there is normally common first line for audio as well as video. In case of audio refers to the recording or broadcasting of sound or music. And if you notice the definition of video refers to the recording or broadcasting of pictures or movies. In audio we are having only sound, so sound means we can take example of music. So audio is by nature different from the text, numbers or images. Audio is in continuous format. It is not a fixed image, or it is not a fixed number, or it is not a fixed text. It is, we can say that, continuous form. The music which is present in the continuous form, that is nothing but the audio. And if we consider the video, so video is nothing but the combination of multiple audios and images, in simple word. Okay, so these are the 5 different type of data which the communicating parties can send or receive. Then the next topic is data transmission mode. Again you are having the write a note on this particular topic, data transmission mode, which is also called as data flow. So totally we are having 3 data transmission mode. First one is simplex mode, second is half duplex mode, and third one is full duplex mode. In simplex mode, basically it in this particular mode it permits data to flow only in one direction. Only in one direction means we can say that you can just take the example of walkie-talkie. So that is, sorry, this is not the example of simplex mode. For simplex mode we can take an example, that is there are some devices which are designed for a specific purpose only. Means if we consider keyboard, so keyboard is nothing but the input device. Means with the help of keyboard you can only provide the input. You cannot be able to see the output on keyboard. If you want to see the output, then just to display the output we are having separate output devices. So that is example of simplex mode. If we are considering keyboard, so keyboard is an input device. It can only do the task of providing input to the system. Okay, so that is we can say that the data is flow only in one direction. Means from the keyboard the signals will be delivered or sent to the CPU. From the CPU we will not get the signal back to the keyboard. It is not possible. So that is example of simplex mode. Only one direction communication. Then the second type which we are having in data transmission mode, that is half duplex mode. In case of half duplex mode, the previously what I said, that is example is walkie-talkie. If one device is sending the data, at that time the device which is present as a receiver can receive the data. That device will not send the data. That is, we can say that there is two-way communication, but the one device where we can, that can send the data at a one time, means sender is sending the data to the receiver, then sender only has right to send the data, receiver will wait. Once the sender is completed with the sending of the data, then the opposite party, opposite device can start sending the data, like that. So the best example is walkie-talkie, that is first person is speaking something. Once the person is done with the explanation or information, then that person normally say that over and out, right? And after that the person which is present at the receiving end will start speaking. So that is example of half duplex mode. Both can work as a sender as a receiver, but not at the same time. And the third type of transmission mode is full duplex mode. In case of full duplex mode, just take example of cell phone or mobile phone, right? If I am speaking, it's not necessary that the person to whom I am speaking cannot speak. Same time we both can speak, right? So that is example of full duplex mode, means at the same time I can send the data as well as receive the data. And this is the mode or common mode which we are using, because if I am chatting with the someone, means I am sending some data, and if other person wants to send some data, then that person also can send me the message. So at the same time it is possible, that is I can receive the data. So that is nothing but the full duplex mode. That is, in this mode data can be simultaneously sent and received between two stations, or we can say that two devices. I have given you the example of mobile phones. In the textbook the example is given as computer to computer. On computer I am watching the videos on the YouTube, I am doing the chatting, right? I am doing multiple tasks, I am sending some messages, at the same time my friend is sending me also message. So that is full duplex communication. So again this is a separate theory question which can be asked in during the exam, that is write a note on transmission mode. So we are having total 3 transmission mode, and the diagram is also very very important. Just a small revision on this, that is simplex mode means the data can flow only in one direction. In half duplex mode the data can transmitted in both the direction but one way at a time. And in case of full duplex mode the data can be sent simultaneously as well as received at the same time. So this topic is data transmission mode, again very very important topic. Then we have distributed processing topic. In distributed processing, basically what happened, it's very clear. If we are having a very important project and it is very huge, so that particular project is not completed by the single person. We need 3-4 programmers to work on that particular project. So in that situation what we will do, we will distribute the work among 3-4 programmers, so that it will be easily managed, it will be easy for us to create a certain project, right? So basically distribution is best way if you want to reduce our efforts and if you want to have the product earlier. So similarly in case of computers also, instead of giving all the monitoring work or all the work to the single device, just distribute it, okay, so that the persons who are using all those devices can work simultaneously. So that is called as distributed processing, or we can say that it is also known as decentralized processing. Processing can be centralized or decentralized. Most networks use distributed processing in which a task is divided among multiple computers. Instead of one single large machine being responsible for all aspects of process, separate computers handle a subset. Okay, so that is distributed processing means we are using multiple computers to perform a certain task by distributing the work among multiple computers. Then there is next topic, that is network. Network is a group of computers and other devices such as printers and scanner connected by communication link, enabling all the devices to interact with each other and share application. Before starting with the theory part of this particular topic, that is network, or we can say that networking, I just want to give you a simple example. Okay, I hope that you have visited cyber cafe. What is use of cyber cafe? In cyber cafe we are having so many computers, okay, and the internet facility is available over there. So if we are having 10 people, so 10 people are having 10 computers which are available in the cyber cafe. But if you notice one thing, that we can say that if you want to take printout, so there is no separate printer which is connected to all the 10 devices. Means all 10 devices are not having 10 printers. There is only one printer which is available in the cyber cafe. But from any computer, any 10 computers which are present in the cyber cafe, we can give the print command to that printer. Why it is possible? Because that printer and the computers are present in a single network. So this is one advantage of network, that is because of network all the devices which are present in that specific network can share the resources. So printer is a kind of resource which is shared by the all 10 computers which are available or present in cyber cafe. So the definition that they have given, that is network is nothing but group of computers and other devices like printers are there, scanners are there, okay. So and all the devices are connected via communication link, that is via any transmission medium also, and because of which it is possible to share some resources. Basically why this concept of network is introduced, because to perform sharing, okay. And for network we can take one more example also. This I don't think that you have observed as a commerce student, but this is one of the examples. So many computer classes are having normally only one CPU is there, okay, and to the same CPU or to that same system the 4 to 5 computers are connected. Means we can say that the computer which is having or which is having CPU is nothing but the server, and the other computers those are not having CPU, but still you can be able to use them. And there are so many softwares which are present on the server machine. The same software are also present on the connected computers, those who are not having CPU. So that is one example of networking only. That is, we are having server to which we have connected the other computers, okay, because of which whatever software which we have installed on server, that particular software is available on all the connected computers. So that we can say that why it is possible, because all those computers which are present in that particular computer classes are present in a single network, okay. So this is the network, and we are having different types of network depending upon the quantity of systems which we are going to connect or the area which we are covering. On the basis of we are having different types of network also. So we are having first type of network, that is LAN, local area network. Then we will be having MAN, metropolitan area network. Then we will be having WAN, wide area network. So total 3 types of network are there, okay. So basically first is local area network. The very smallest network we can consider is nothing but the local area network, which normally occupies, we can say that 1 kilometer distance, or the network which is present in a single building or single complex. That is the example of LAN, local area network. So we will see the points line by line. LAN is nothing but small network of connected computers wherein computers are connected to each other physically with the help of wire and cable. So basically, if you want to establish LAN, it is possible with the help of wired media, because as I said, LAN is a small network. It covers small area. So within small area, it is possible to connect all the computers which are connected in the small area via cable, that is wired media. But other than that, nowadays we are having extended LAN also, that is we are making use of dongle and all. So that is one kind of wireless LAN. Then the second point, each computer may work with the peripheral devices such as printer, data storage devices. Here you are having one term, that is peripheral devices. Okay, peripheral devices means the devices which we connect. Basically, if we consider a computer, so computer means we are having monitor, keyboard, CPU and mouse. These are the basic devices. But it's not necessary that we can connect only these devices to the system. No, we can connect printers, we are having scanner, we are having woofers, right? We are having speakers. We all can connect them to the system. So these are nothing but the peripheral devices. Okay. Then the next topic is connected computers must be within certain radius limit. This is very important line about the LAN. In case of LAN, all the computers which are connected to each other should be present within a specific radius. Otherwise, we cannot call it as a LAN. And that radius limit is nothing but the 1 kilometer. This is not actual value. It is just approximately given. That is, if we are considering the computers which are connected within a 1 kilometer distance, then that particular type of network is LAN. In LAN, at least one computer is designed as a file server. Not in case of LAN, in all type of network, we are having one main machine or one main computer, which is nothing but the file server, who is responsible for receiving the message from the nodes which are connected to that server. Nodes are nothing but the computers which are connected to the server. So basically, server is the main machine who is responsible for managing the communication between all the connecting nodes. In microcomputers managed by the file server are called as workstations or nodes. As I said, all the computers which are connected to the servers, we can call them as a workstation or nodes. In LAN, resources such as printer, data storage devices, software, etc. can be shared. This point is common in all other type of network. That is, in any type of network, we can share the resources like printers, softwares, we can storage devices, we can share them. The file server basically manage all the sharing of peripheral devices. File server is responsible for this sharing. If required, LAN can contain more than one server. It's not necessary that we should have only one server. We can have more than one server if we are having more number of computers. So in that case, we are applying distributed processing. That is, within 1 kilometer distance, if we are having 50 computers. So instead of giving or having only one server for all the 49 computers, we can simply make a group of 10 computers, and in each group we will be having one server. So in LAN, we can have more than one server. Basically, data transfer speed, if we compare or if we consider about the LAN, is very highest. Because in case of LAN, we are having less number of computers, and this is the reason why the data transmission speed of LAN is very high, almost 10 Mbps. 2 or more LAN can be connected with the help of bridges or gateways. It's not necessary that we will be having a single LAN. So only the computers which are present in a one LAN can communicate each other. There can be situation that one computer for one LAN wants to communicate with the other one. So that is possible. That is possible by which method? By connecting two LANs. And how we can connect two LANs? With the help of some connecting devices like bridges and gateways. And LAN is generally owned by the we can say that private organization. Means for, we can consider one college. So each college can have their LAN. If we are considering university campus, so each and every university can have their personal or private local area network. So this is first type of network, that is LAN. Then we have next metropolitan area network. Most of the points are common in all three types, except the speed. MAN stands for metropolitan area network. In this, bigger network of computer. Bigger network means we can say that the number of computers are more as compared to LAN in case of MAN. So wherein computers are connected to each other physically with the help of fiber optic cable. So if we want to establish MAN, the type of cable which we are going to use is nothing but the fiber optic cable, because here we are going to have a large number of computers as compared to LAN. Each computer may work with the peripheral devices such as printer, data storage devices. Again the same thing, that is we can share all the resources. Okay. Connected computer must be within a certain radius, and this radius limit is nothing but the 40 to 60 kilometers. In LAN we have seen 1 kilometer. In case of MAN we are having 40 to 60 kilometer area we can cover. Okay, so it is bigger area, and LAN is the small area. The microcomputers managed by the file servers are called as workstation and nodes. This point was there in LAN also. In MAN, the resources such as printer, data storage devices, softwares, etc. can be shared. Again, same point. The file server manages the sharing of all the peripheral devices, that is monitoring sharing of all the peripheral devices. Data transfer speed, if we consider, that is in case of LAN it was 10 Mbps they have given. In case of MAN it is 20 Mbps. Okay. Two or more MAN we can connect with each other with the help of connecting devices like bridges and gateways. LAN can be connected to the MAN, and MAN is generally not owned by the private organization. It is not possible because it is very wide area. So it is a bigger area network. So it is not possible for any private organization to buy this type of network. Okay. So this is MAN, metropolitan area network. So many points are common. If we consider the differences, then in case of LAN, small area network, 1 kilometer distance, 10 Mbps speed. Okay. And in case of MAN we can say that it is bigger area network, 40 to 60 kilometer speed, and the data transfer speed is 20 Mbps, megabytes per second. Okay. And other points are common in LAN and MAN other than three which I have enlisted. Then the last type of network is WAN, that is wide area network. It is a large network of connected computers wherein computers are connected to each other with the help of various communication facilities such as long distance telephone services, satellite transmission, after that undersea cables, etc. So WAN is wide area network, so there is no geographical limit for WAN. If one person which is present in India wants to communicate with his friend which is there in America, so it is possible, that communication is possible. Because of which? Because of WAN. Because WAN is not having any geographical limit. It is not limited for a specific kilometers of area. So it is long distance communication. So if you want to make it possible WAN, then we can make use of telephone lines, satellite transmission. That is, satellite transmission means we can make use of microwaves, and undersea cable also we can use. So in case of LAN you can say that twisted pair cable or coaxial cable can be used. In case of MAN we have seen fiber optic cable is the best example. And in case of WAN we can make use of telephone services, satellite transmission, and undersea cables. So different types of cables are used to implement this particular type of network. Again, the next point is each computer may work with the peripheral devices such as printer, data storage devices. Generally, WAN contains more than one file server. The microcomputers managed by the file server are called as workstations or node. To WAN, resources such as data storage devices, softwares, etc. can be shared. All other points are very simple. Just there is one difference, that is data transfer speed is very slow in case of WAN. And reason is the number of computers are more as compared to LAN and MAN. And we can connect multiple MAN to the WAN. Actually, WAN is nothing but a combination of so many mans, and man is nothing but the combination of so many LAN. We can connect LAN to man, man to WAN. In reverse, it is not possible. In simple word, just remember this. So data transmission speed is highest in case of normally LAN, local area network, because the number of computers are very less in that case, and man speed is in between LAN and WAN, and WAN is having very lower speed, that is almost in kbps, kilobytes per second. Okay, so in today's lecture we are going to see this much topic only. So I hope whatever I have taught you or I have explained, that is clear to you. If you are having any doubts, just send a WhatsApp message on your group, so that your section coordinator can communicate regarding the same to me. So this much is there in today's lecture. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.